Hi guys, MrRoflWaffles here, with a whole lot of Destiny teasery stuff happening around the edging fate. I thought it would be a good time to go back to this article from September 9th, 2024, which covers a lot of the stuff that we can expect in Frontiers, which has now been renamed, and that's why we're getting the whole, edging announcement stream on May 6th. But for now, we're just going to focus on Frontiers instead, and we're going to go through all of the information in here, which you honestly might have forgotten a lot of if you originally saw it back in 2024 and then never looked back at it. But not only the stuff on this page, we've also got all of these articles to cover as well, so we can adequately prepare ourselves for what's coming in the year ahead. There'll be a lot of reading through this video, so I'm just going to do my best to narrate it for you. You can put it on in the background or something while you listen to me kind of work through the articles, and I'll give my first look opinions of what I'm seeing as well, because I haven't read any of these articles to date. So, paving the way for new Frontiers. Today marks the 10-year anniversary of Destiny. We set out in 2014 to do something new and different for our studio. We've conquered the Witness, spoilers, looted dungeons, ascended to the Lighthouse, and more. Now we look to the future. Funnily enough, this is about all I've done. I've looted a dungeon, I've defeated the Witness, and I've gone to the Lighthouse, and basically nothing else. Still, we're plotting our course to the stars through codename Frontiers. We closed a door with the final shape, but we're opening a new one, a weird one, an exciting one, that takes Destiny to places it's never been before. We're building this future now, and are excited to share with you a first glimpse of it today. And this is the graphic that they presented. Now, since all of these articles came out, there's been this updated and revised version of the graphic made, which puts a lot of different columns into the graphic and tells you what activities are coming when and what they're going to be and blah, 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 blah. But I suspect that much of this is also outdated now that we've got the edging stuff coming. And so I think for now, we're just going to move on with the rest of the article, and then we can return to this a little later. The roadmap lays out our plan for year 11 and beyond, with some exciting changes to our annual model. First of all, we're getting 2 expansions per year, which my chat has told me is a move from 1 expansion per year previously, and 4 major updates of free content every year. Over the next few months, we'll be sharing more info on Codename Frontiers, which is how we're describing major innovations coming to Destiny over the next few years, starting with our next expansion, Codename Apollo. We've several dev insight deep dives going live today, which is what I mentioned a moment ago, and we'll continue to add more to the list over the weeks and months to come. Today, we also have Tyson Green, the game director of Destiny 2, and Alison Lurs, the Destiny 2 narrative director, diving through some of our future plans for Destiny 2. Our goal is to be more transparent in our comms with you. This means sharing our work, yada yada, etc. If you take away nothing else, it should be this. We're excited for Destiny to change and improve in ways that allow it to keep evolving in the future. Cool. So, our vision for the future of Destiny 2. And this is a really gorgeous piece of art, actually. This is really lovely. I love the fact that this structure thing in the background that kind of looks like an anvil is just sort of part of the cloud here. I love the way that that's illustrated. This is very pretty overall. I'm a fan, I must say. So Tyson Green is being interviewed here, and it says, or rather, he says, "My name is Tyson, and I'm the game director for Destiny 2, and I'm excited to speak today about our team's vision for Destiny. First and foremost, we all still love Destiny." Bro, I have to say, it's actually crazy that they've had to position this document so hard towards people thinking that Destiny was over and gone for good. Do you know what I mean? The fact that he's having to say, guys, we do still love the game. It's this is the opening sentence. People were so willing, clearly, people were so ready to be like, the devs hate us, the devs hate the game, they're shutting it down, it's gone, it's never going back. I feel for the devs. This must have been a tricky one to navigate. It's a unique and challenging game, both for you and for us. Bro, wait, no, this is actually depressing to read. What the hell? It's unique and challenging for you and for us. So this is basically them saying, we hear that none of you like us, but we are trying our best Like, I feel so bad for Tyson. This is the start of the interview, dude. Tyson literally sat down for the interview and went, "I'm so sorry." Like, what? Okay, I've personally been working on Destiny for 15 years and it still excites me creatively. There are not many games I could say that about. But at the same time, we recognize that it's become too rigid. Bro, wait, chill. I like the game. You don't have to tear it down. I like it. Expansions have started to feel too formulaic and are over too quickly with little replay value. Bro, they're doing a YouTuber apology video, literally. Seasons and episodes keep getting bigger, but can still feel like you're just going through the motions. We believe it's time for Destiny to change and evolve, and that our community wants this game to grow and innovate too, and to do that, we need to start breaking some of the molds. This is so interesting. The way this is written feels like an apology. Was Destiny in such a bad state last year that they had to frame this as like them resuscitating it from the dead? Like, have I missed hell? Like, I joined the Destiny community properly in February 2025, right? It was 5 days before Sundered Doctrine came out. And I got here and it felt like the vibes were really good. And then since I joined, it feels like the vibes have just gotten better and better and better. Like, the announcements for whether it's even the marathon stuff or the edging or anything really has been, it's all felt so positive. So I'm sort of surprised that this is like really written as being positioned to sort of ease off a very negative situation. That's so interesting to me. Milo Bestie, you brought back morale. I mean, I don't think it was just me, dude. I've been enjoying it, but I wouldn't be enjoying it if the game sucked. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't get it. You think it was just me? Well, Bungie had better slide me a check sometime then, bro. Like, because this is $1 billion game here. The sentiment at that time was just depressing. After the end of Final Shape, they'd not talked to the community at all, and no one knew if the devs were investing in the game anymore. Did people really think it was just going to be over? Milo, you literally saved my hype for the game. Oh my God. Okay, well, I'm glad. But like, the biggest complaint was that people have been doing the same thing every season. It really needed a shake up. Okay. So, because that's what I'm interpreting here is like, he wouldn't be saying this so quickly in the article here if this wasn't like a very, very important thing for them to address, you know? Like, people must have been fuming about them being too rigid for Bungie to actually then have to be like, okay, we need to address this in our opening statement. They were this mad? Right, okay. I had no idea. That's so interesting. My view of the Destiny situation has been so different to this. My experience with the game has been so different. So I'm glad, but wow. Yeah, I had no idea. Okay, let's keep going. So we believe it's time for Destiny to change. We need to start breaking some of the molds. Annual expansions. We're going to start with annual expansions. We've loved creating annual expansions and are especially proud of the Final Shape. But the truth is that they dominate almost all our development effort. We need to free ourselves up to explore and innovate with how we deliver Destiny 2 content so we can invest in areas of the game that will feel more impactful to players. Starting next year, instead of one big expansion, we're going to deliver 2 medium-sized expansions. Each of these will depart from the one-shot campaign structure we've been using, essentially unchanged since Shadowkeep, and each will be an opportunity to explore exciting new formats instead. Huh, that's really intriguing. You came in with Episode Heresy, which is the episode that revived our enthusiasm for the game. It was so much better than what we've had in the first 2 episodes. Oh. So Heresy was when things started to turn around, yeah? You experienced this animosity from the community firsthand after your Last Wish blind raid? Yeah, I mean, I definitely know that there's an underbelly of very nasty energy in the Destiny community, but like the majority of what my experience has definitely been very positive. It's just that there are some people out there that are very, very horrible, but like it's mostly been really good. It's just Revenant was a really bad time. Okay, got you. I mean, this to me is sort of music to my ears because I'm staring down the barrel right now of the prospect of having to basically do all the campaigns back to back. And if they're all the exact same format, it's going to come to a point where it's going to get a bit samey, right? So them, and I mean for the Destiny community even more so because you guys have only had those campaigns for 10 years, right? So an opportunity to do some new formats sounds good. We're excited to try new things that challenge your idea of what a Destiny experience can be. We're actively prototyping non-linear campaigns, exploration experiences similar to the Dreaming City or Metroidvanias, and even more unusual formats like roguelikes or survival shooters. Wait, what? Each expansion will present a new opportunity to try something different. So is the idea that they've mentioned here the only reason why the Nether exists? Like, it sounds like if they hadn't made this change, we wouldn't have the Nether. What's the other thing that's out right now? The Crown, the Court of Crowns or something? The Thorn of Crowns? Court of Blades. Thank you, Soul Gaming. That Court of Blades thing also is like an attempt, right, to step into a bit of a new format. And I feel like, again, that just wouldn't exist without this kind of pivot. So that's interesting that that's already becoming clear. Departing from one-shot campaigns doesn't mean we're turning away from great storytelling. Going forward, we want to return the mystery and wonder that was woven into the fabric of early Destiny. Bro, that sentence alone, returning the mystery and wonder. Yes. Like, talk that talk. Give me secrets. Give me mystery. That was woven into the fabric of early Destiny when the story felt ripe with possibilities and an epic sense of exploration and discovery. Great stories are as important as ever in our creative vision, and Allison will touch more on that below. Yes, talk that talk. With the change to 2 expansions per year, our seasonal model will be changing as well. Instead of 3 episodes, and this is going to take me some time to wrap my head around, so you're going to have to bear with me here. Instead of 3 episodes, we'll be building 4 major updates per year, 1 every 3 months. Each expansion will launch alongside a major update at the start of a season, and then a second major update will follow 3 months later to refresh the core game with new and reprised content, including strikes, exotic missions, or entirely new modes like Onslaught, rewards like weapons, armor, artifact mods, exotics, and more, new weekly events. What is a weekly event, chat? New features, and then combat meta and balance updates. Weekly events are a very broad category, could be almost anything. So I guess it's like trials? I don't know if you saw the heavy metal stuff in the TWID, but that's probably what they're going for. Oh yeah, that's the mechs mode, right? I guess that maybe is what they're kind of referring to there. Interesting. So the big seasonal resets are still gonna happen, and a season is what? This is a bit confusing, because they've said there will be a major update at the start of a season, and then a major update will follow 3 months later. So if a season is turning into a major update, and we're going from 3 seasons to 4 seasons, then why are there only 2 season resets? There's 2 seasons? Consulting the roadmap might help. Oh yeah, season. Bro, Destiny suffers so badly from confusing timelines and monetization models and everything. The fact that there are 2 seasons listed here, summer and fall, but they are contained within the season. Like, bro, you could have picked any other word. Like, and they've called this summer 2020. Oh no, that's starting in... Okay, so the seasonal update contains 2 seasons. I think Bungie have over-seasoned this a little bit. Okay, I'm with you. So seasonal resets will now happen every other season in terms of real life seasons, but every season in terms of Bungie seasons. So the seasonal resets happen twice a year because Bungie seasons only happen twice a year, alongside the expansions, because Bungie seasons are now equivalent to the timeline of Bungie expansions. It's just that the Bungie seasons contain free content and the Bungie expansions contain paid content. I think. We'll see. We'll keep reading and we'll see. Okay, so each update will be a substantial refresh of the core game. Now, when you say update, Bungie, what do we mean by update? I think that's every major update, as in 2 per season, I think. Will be a substantial refresh of the core game, bringing new activities and reward content. We're also excited to announce that, like Destiny 2 Into the Light, these updates and their content will be free. So, season resets and refreshes happening. Every major update will be free. We want Destiny to be easier for anyone to play or recommend, so we want to remove that major barrier to the experience, which means we need to talk about the core game itself. The core game is Destiny's always available evergreen activity experience, and we need to fix 2 key things with it. Approachability and gear and challenge should matter. First, Destiny is too complex. With literally hundreds of activities, you practically need a PhD to decide what to play and how to get rewards you're looking for. I would actually add to this and say it's not just to get rewards you're looking for, it's to get anything you're looking for. If I want to learn like a certain bit of the story, if I just want like anything from the game, knowing where that is impossible. We're going to start to fix this by modernizing our activity UI, the director, to make it easier for everyone to find and launch integrate activities. We're reworking our reward model to make sure all the activities offer meaningful rewards. Our deep dives on activities will go into more detail on these. Cool, we'll come back to that then. Even great activities stop mattering if the challenge dries up and the rewards aren't worth it. So we're investing in a greatly improved challenge customization system to let players of any skill range find the right challenge level for them with rewards that improve based on the challenge level you take on. Isn't this just what they've already got with like Master? These won't be simple incoming damage increases. The team is cooking up some great gameplay modifiers that give some enemies exciting tools to mix things up on every run. We'll have a deep dive coming soon to show off these new threats. We'll cover that later in the video. Isn't this just like barrier champions? We'll see, I guess. As for the rewards, there'll be higher tiers of the legendary gear, think adept weapons, and artifice armor that will be available from these higher challenge ranges in a much wider variety of activities across both PvE and PvP. I'm going to be honest, I don't really know where you get artifice armor from other than Zur. Chat, can you help me out here? Where does artifice armor even come from? Master dungeons. Oh. Right now, I know adept weapons can come from trials, so I don't really understand how this is different. There'll be higher tiers of legendary gear available from these higher challenge ranges, but there already are from doing master dungeons. Like, you can do a normal dungeon and not get artifice, or you can do master and you can get artifice. So what is the difference? It'll become clear as I read more. Okay. These two changes will help the core game experience be easier to drop into and much deeper in terms of variety and pursuit of personal mastery. And they're a starting point for ongoing changes aimed to continuing to improve Destiny in these regards. Okay, the next multi-year saga starts with codename Apollo. Allison Lurs. Hello, I'm Allison, and I'm the D2 narrative director. I'm a fresh face at Bungie. Oh, I started doing narrative direction for seasons in fall 2022, and my first expansion was the Final Shape, so she's actually pretty fresh in. Hell yeah. We're proud of the Final Shape and the ending we created, and we knew the episodes that follow would act as an epilogue tying up Light and Dark's hanging threads, but also setting up for what's next. The episodes close doors and open new ones, purposeful ones, storylines that are set in place to prepare us for what comes next. And what's next is our new saga. Hell yeah. Okay, you'll see teasers of it in the later two episodes. So that's Revenant and Revenant and Heresy, and then fully kick off with codename Apollo. This next saga is also based around a core theme, much like Light and Darkness did. It will introduce plenty of new characters, factions, twists, and more. There's a lot more here we'll say eventually, but we don't want to spoil the journey for you. This will be a multi-year journey, one we can't wait to take you on. I'm glad they mentioned this, because from the early days of Destiny, they were really clear that they were planning like a 10-year journey, right? And I think that it would probably make sense that some people after Final Shape would be like, well, do we have another 10 years coming, or is that it, guys? So the fact that they've said it's multi-year is a good sign. I like that. Our first expansion, codename Apollo, is a non-linear, character-driven adventure. Bro, this doesn't sound like Destiny. It's awesome. What do we mean by codename Apollo is non-linear? Previously, in stories like the Final Shape, you experience the story A to B to C to D in a nice straight line. In codename Apollo, our story takes place over dozens of threads you'll explore and discover. So when you land on our brand new location, the story starts at A, and then you can choose if you want to explore C first, or try and get into B, or maybe investigate D. And the options you didn't choose, don't worry, they're still open for you to go back and play through. You'll need to. Because the more you play and discover, the more the story progresses. So experiencing a certain number of threads opens up the next part of the story. The order in which you explore will be something you choose, but we've built codename Apollo in a way that the story always makes sense and flows from beginning to middle to end. There's no time gating, no waiting for the next drop. Codename Apollo's story unfolds based on player progression. So this sounds good in the sense that there's no time gating, first of all, and it's interesting that they're going about it this way because the the idea of it being almost a bit more like an RPG in a sense, where you can just like go off and do a side quest and then come back and do main quest, that would be cool. Most importantly, it sounds fresh and new. Yeah, I mean, I can't disagree with that. Bro, these look like the Witness's head, like forehead blimps. That's crazy. Or not the Witness, sorry, the Subjugators. It looks like Subjugator head. I love Subjugator heads, man. They're so goofy looking. Just like little cone head looking ass. It's cool art. I don't know what I'm looking at really. Like, yeah, not really sure what I'm looking at, but it looks cool. Destiny is at its best when it's mysterious, weird, and not afraid to try new things. This shift to non-linear stories isn't something we're locking ourselves into, but it's the structure that fits Apollo best. The narrative structure of the releases that follow will be quite different, a structure to suit that game's experience. Bro, it's crazy to call it that game's experience as in a different game. Like, that is wild. We want to continue to innovate with each expansion across both gameplay and narrative. There is an inherent problem with this that was a problem in D1. If you can do it all in one day, people will immediately do it all and then cry there's nothing more to do. Fair point. I wonder how that will go. That is an interesting point, S1. Into the unknown. This all sounds like a big change, and it is. Because when the rhythm of our story becomes predictable, or when characters and our world fail to change, that's how we create a situation, not a story. So, how can we innovate? By telling a story that keeps up with our innovation, not one that slows it down. That means an evolving world, giving space for new characters, growing and evolving factions, making sure the story we tell is in a world we've nurtured and with characters who grow in turn. We believe in rewarding the player for paying attention without punishing someone for not knowing something. That way, everyone gets to come along for the ride no matter how deep in the lore they are. You'll see that approach starting with episodes and continuing into the new multi-year story. So, when we think about a multi-year arc, what does that look like? Think of it as a constellation of stories united by a single theme. We'll show you what that theme is later, but suffice to say, we believe in it. Think of this multi-year arc as a web, not a line. Each release fits into the larger saga, and we can't wait to take you on that journey. Story is easy to spoil, true, so I won't ruin the details for what the theme in Codename Apollo is or what it's about. But I will give you something to look forward to. Apollo ends with the narrative gasoline that will propel us into the next few years with a clear theme, goal, and a destination that won't come at you as a straight line, but will be well worth the trip. It'll reward you, surprise you, and it'll take us places Destiny has never seen before. Bro, I got low-key like 30% of the way there to goosebumps reading that. That was crazy. Whew, okay. See you when the time is right. Bro, no wonder she said that she wouldn't ruin the details for us. She knew that we were going to be getting edged anyway. So, like, why not just contribute to that a little bit? You know what I mean? Like, oh. All right, with that, we come to a close. A new beginning, really. Over the next few months, we'll be dishing out more deep dives and engaging in more conversation. We have no doubts the above breakdown of Frontiers will spawn far more questions than we can answer, but we'll be looking to keep you up to date as we take flight. Keep an eye on the deep dive section. Thank you for joining us on our 10-year journey. We've been through so much. Now it's time to look to the stars again. It's time to imagine. Can you imagine imagining in 2025? Bro, aphantasia gamers rise up, okay? We don't imagine in this household. Dream big and explore what our futures can be within the universe. We have our heading and hope to see you join us along the way from the Destiny 2 dev team. So that's the first article, but there's so much more that we're going to dig into now, because I need all this information next. For our first article, we're going to do core game activities. Welcome to one of many developer insight articles for Frontiers. Let's talk about core game activities. The core game is Destiny's always available ritual activity offering, ranging from strikes to crucible to events. Going forward, an even wider range of core game activities will provide more variety, deeper mastery, and better rewards through the introduction of challenge customization. Yeah, that's crazy they left out Gambit there. Pain. We don't need a TLDR. The problem. In past Destiny releases, all attention has been on a relatively small offering of newly introduced seasonal activities, most often with a narrow range of difficulty options, if any. Rewards and objectives have focused all purposeful play into these activities to the exclusion of most others. Wait, so people had to get rewards from seasonal activities from the story, from the campaign? Still do, technically? Really? Seasonal activities gave seasonal weapons? Oh. Think Nether and Court of Blaze this episode. Oh, those are seasonal activities. You're so right. Okay. As a result, the ritual game quickly becomes stale and is exhausted of worthwhile rewards, and any further pursuit requires a pretty deep knowledge of Destiny or online guides to find worthwhile rewards in older activities. The solution. The core game activities are those accessed from the new portal screen. Portal, okay. And are together a selection of several dozen new and updated activities that tie into the current seasonal theme and gameplay meta. This selection is updated every major update and includes the current expansion and any running events. I'm going to need a minute to digest this sentence. You'll read about it in the portal article? Okay. I just don't understand how they're saying it includes the current expansion, but the expansion is not an activity. So why is the expansion listed in a list of activities? Campaign missions or activities? But I thought that the campaign was part of the free stuff. Is it not? Campaign is not free. Okay, so this is what it looks like. I mean, this seems like a good idea, right? Separating things out in this way, so like you can just see all your pinnacles straight away by just like clicking on this, for example. That feels like that would be useful. And then we'll look at the portal deep dive in a minute as well. The activities cover a wide variety of activity types from strikes to dungeons to crucible and are organized in categories with similar fireteam requirements. Cool. It's just gonna be good for clarity. So that's a good thing. Challenge customization. The major change to core game activities is that they all support deeper personal mastery and a corresponding deep reward offering. We'll start with PvE, then dive into Crucible and PvP, which present unique challenges. All of the PvE activities will now support robust challenge customization exposed as new options alongside selecting the difficulty. Wait, alongside the difficulty? Bruh. Huh? Oh my god, this does not look simple. Advanced 3, 4, Expert 1, 2, 3, Master. Overview rules, gameplay, enemy power, scoring. You can apply modifiers. I'm sorry, Bungie, this looks complicated as hell. Work in progress mockup, subject to change. Challenge customization gives you the ability to select and activate challenge modifiers, which affect the activity you're launching. The challenge modifiers may introduce new enemy combatant abilities to increase their threat, introduce new challenges that change how you play, provide incentives for changing up your build crafting, raise the power target for the activity, globally increasing the difficulty. Okay, so it's a heat system. It's a Hades heat system, or it's a zombies mutator system, right? That's essentially what they're going for here. I think Hades heat system is probably the best analog I can give for now. As a player, you'll first be able to select a base difficulty, such as Expert or Grandmaster. The difficulty will set some base difficulty tuning and a power target, but more importantly, will determine how many challenge modifiers you can add on. Oh, so you're limited with how many you can even use if you're on too low a difficulty. In some cases, which challenge modifiers are available also. Higher difficulty means more challenge modifiers to slot and a wider variety of them to choose from. Ah, interesting. Okay. Rising to the right level of challenge can make an activity not only more fun to play, but more rewarding too. All core game activities will support reward rating, which is a combined team and personal score that determines the amount and quality of rewards obtained at the end of the activity. It's increased by playing an activity at a higher base difficulty, applying challenge modifiers which have individual bonuses to reward rating, and having personal bonuses from sources like power, artifacts, or buffs. Does this mean that you could be in an activity and you could queue with randoms, and your randoms could make it easier for themselves and you could make it harder for yourself and you'd get a better reward than them? Because why else would there be personal bonuses? Like, why would they not just do the... Wait, it's a combined... Is this 2 scores? I guess it's 1 score. It's a combined team and personal score. It's one score overall. As a team, you'll earn a team rating over the activity on a per activity basis. Sometimes it will resemble existing systems like Nightfall score, but new activity types can have their own way to determine team rating. This is shared by all members of the team and will always try to mitigate competition between teammates for things like scoring kills or specific setups. At the end of your activity, The team rating is multiplied by any personal bonuses you might have. The final multiplied value is your reward rating, and this value is used to determine the quality and quantity of rewards. But just for you, I guess. So it is personal. Reward rating is used to determine things like quality of weapons and armor that drop, or the quantity of useful consumables like enhancement prisms or ascendant shards. In this way, you can select any core game activity, use your skill and build to take on more and more challenging versions of it, and earn higher and higher tier rewards. Huh. That's interesting. It's odd, especially if it's not going to be able to be match made. Like, there's going to be very few people that actually queue into this, I feel like. Hey, absolutely love the positive vibes you brought to the Destiny community. Such a breath of fresh air. Glad to hear, Rotato. Thank you for that. That's made me smile. Thank you. You can matchmake with the presets and use Fireteam Finder for the rest. Oh. Yeah, it's interesting. It sounds like it's going to be a nightmare to balance. Like a horrible nightmare to balance. Crucible is a unique challenge because you cannot simply add challenge modifiers or use the score of the match as a team rating. It's a tricky problem we're still working out. We're working through options like factoring in matchmaking ratings or leveraging existing progressions, but each presents unique challenges to our end goal of ensuring that Crucible offers our PvP players a fair and complete path to high tier weapons and armor. We'll be excited to share a solution once we have one nailed down. So fair enough. What about expansion activities? Expansion activities such as story missions or destination activities present some unique challenges in how they relate to power and changing seasons. Our intended outcome is that expansion content is always a great way to start off a season and will have a path to high tier weapons and armor, but that progress via core game activities will be part of the path. Raids and dungeons released with expansions still represent a pinnacle challenge for players and will have their own paths to the highest tier of weapons and armor too. Are old activities going away? No, except for some seasonal activities that are normally removed at the end of the year. Older activities will remain available to launch from the destination map just as they are today. Over time, it's our intention to clean up and retire some older activity offerings that are well served by the portal, such as Vanguard Ops. These have lots of ties to existing content though, and will need to be moved over gradually. How does matchmaking work with it? For activities that support matchmaking, like those in Fireteam Ops, so that's those on the left-hand side up here, Fireteam Ops there, matchmaking will be available for some preset difficulties, but using challenge customization to enable different challenge modifiers will disable matchmaking. While Fireteam Finder may be a good way to pick up some slack here, we also intend to feature higher challenge options on a daily rotation in activities with active bonus rewards. These activities should have concentrated enough populations to ensure that matchmaking can do a good job setting up good matches with solid connections. Cool. Okay, cool. This sounds really complex. Like, it just does. But it sounds like it's adding a huge amount of player choice to Destiny, which is incredible. It's incredible to the point that I'm like, this cannot be something that they're going to have a good time with developing because it's going to be so sprawling. There's going to be so many weird edge cases that Bog is going to break in the name of beating all the highest tier activities on max difficulty modifiers. Like, it's going to be great, but my God, it's going to be a nightmare. It sounds cool though. Complexity goes up, but maybe I'll have to actually turn my brain on outside of 1% of the available activities. Fair. Like, I feel like the only thing that really counts for that right now is like Master Raids and Dungeons and Grandmaster Nightfalls, right? Like, everything else is kind of chill. So to be able to make things not chill and actually get better loot from them, maybe that's a cook. I mean, I think it is a cook. It sounds good. Some Master Raids are still kind of brain dead. Really? Some GMs are brain dead. Fair. Some of them you can kind of walk through, but still, not anymore once this comes along. So that's good. Okay, so that's the core game. Let's take a look now at core game rewards. Core game expansion and event activities will feature a reworked reward offering that provides a deeper reward chase across a wider range of activities. The problem. In past Destiny seasons, only a narrow range of activities received updated rewards, leading to a narrow selection of activities worth playing. These reward pools tended to not be very deep either, with most chases bottoming out with weapon perk rolls, and armor not mattering much at all. These problems have resulted in shallow, unsatisfying grinds in a tiny subset of the activities actually available to play, with their best rewards being a matter of luck rather than skill or mastery. The solution: weapon and armor tiers. Bro, it's the purple gun that I got from That one goofy day of Destiny. Legendary weapons and armor will be available in a deeper range of quality tiers. Oh god, wait. They're reworking all the... Oh god. Okay, here we go. They'll be available in a deeper range of quality tiers that layer on properties like stat bonuses, enhanced perks, and other benefits. For weapons, this will be similar to how adept weapons upgrade the baseline legendary. The baseline tier of legendary weapons and armor will be equivalent to current day legendaries, with higher tiers being generally equivalent to adept weapons in terms of upgrade. These higher tiers of weapons and armor will be available from the full range of core game activities as rewards for higher challenge tiers and mastery of those activities. Interesting. So my thought here before we read any further is that actually might be annoying, because right now, if you want a specific thing, you know that at least you need to go to one activity, and then that's like a limited loot pool in that activity. Whereas if everything's available from everything, then if you do anything, you could get anything. But you don't want anything, you want something. Does that make sense? So maybe that's what reward pools fix. Reward pools are complete sets of weapons and armor that are available as rewards from one or more activities. Some weapons are shared across multiple pools, but the majority of weapons and all armor are unique to a single pool. A typical pool is a full armor set for each class, and enough weapons to provide multiple options for each weapon slot. All of these rewards are available at all tiers, so each reward pool is deep and supports a range of challenge in the activity they are associated with. The major core game reward pools will be updated in every major update and will be core PvE, rewards shared among more accessible PvE activities like strikes, core PvP, okay, pinnacle PvE, and pinnacle PvP. Every expansion will also contain 2 full reward pools: expansion story, rewards shared among missions, exploration, or other activities in the expansion, and rewards for expansion, raid, or dungeon activities. In addition to the above pools, some activities like events may have additions exclusive to that activity, such as individual weapons or armor sets. Huh? I didn't understand any of this, to be honest. Because they've just said higher tiers of weapons will be available from the full range of core game activities. But now this is saying that the reward pools are split between the different activities. So what? So what you're saying is this sentence should actually say each core game activity has an associated reward pool each core game activity has 2 associated reward pools. It has a core reward pool for low tiers. Nope. Try again. What this sentence should say is there are 4 core game activity pools, which are core PvE, core PvP, pinnacle PvE, and pinnacle PvP. And in each of those pools, you can either get base versions of that pool's weapons or higher tier versions of that pool's weapons. Is that correct? Yes? Okay, this is the literal worst possible way they could have explained that. I'm being so straight up. I get it now, but like, holy moly, that could have been so much clearer, bro. You've got to disagree. But this post, you got to remember, prior to reading this, the only sentence that you read is that there are going to be tiers, and higher tiers are available from the full range of core game activities. The new context changes the meaning of this sentence. It's so weird. It's such a weird way of phrasing it. Like, this is why I had to do it the other way around. And that's why I was like, okay, we have individual activities with their pools. Like, they needed to start with this information and then be like, okay, so like, we're basically dividing this, like things you can get loot from are now divided into these categories. And then the question is, okay, but what loot can you get? Well, you can get the base level loot, or you can get this fancy loot. Do you know what I mean? But they've started the other way around, and they've said the fancy loot can come from the full range of core game activities. But you don't know that the full game activities are actually not interchangeable. Do you know what I mean? The main points they're making is that currently some loot pools don't have access to adepts. With Frontiers, all of them will. So they should have said that. They should have said, currently, these are our reward pools, and right now, you can only get adepts in like 2 out of the 4 reward pools. And we want to improve that. So we're now redistributing our reward pools to look like this, and we're going to make it so each of these has base and higher tiers. So you can get like category linked adepts in any of these categories. Do you know what I mean? How does Gambit fit into all of this? It doesn't, apparently. Gambit's gone, bro. Okay, well, I'm glad I finally understand this. Every expansion contains 2 reward pools, da-da-da. In addition to the above pools, some activities like events may have additions exclusive to that activity, such as individual weapons. So those would be like secret little things, I guess. New gear will be a blanket category for all of the weapons and armor newly introduced in the current season, regardless of source. New gear will receive a special visual treatment to help players identify which weapons or armor sets are new, and which may therefore benefit from things like artifact bonuses. Wait, so the artifact is going to give you bonuses of like all new gear gets +5 damage kind of thing? Is that something that currently happens? They've been doing that like that for a while. I thought it was just like pulse rifles get a buff. Read on. Okay. Some artifact bonuses, which previously applied to specific perks, such as weapon origin traits, will now be pointed toward the wider category of new gear instead. This should provide more and clearer buildcraft options and make for some shorter tooltips in the artifact. New gear may be required in specific optional activities where players are looking for a level playing field. For example, a Crucible playlist option for players who want to play with and against the newly introduced gear, and seasonal events centered on posting high scores in specific activities. FAQ. Does new gear mean old gear is being sunset? No. Not at all. Existing gear remains unchanged and ready for use in any activity except those set aside for experimenting with new gear. Except it's going to be kind of obsolete if you put artifact perks that buff new gear. Like, sure, it's not being sunset, but it's going to be like some net percentage worse, no? It can be used to infuse to achieve the same power as any newly introduced gear. Okay, so you can use it as coal. Like, okay. The only specific advantage to using new gear will be some artifact synergies. Okay, yeah. Comparable to origin trait upgrades found on existing artifacts. Okay, I don't think I've experienced those, so I can't really comment on what those feel like. Artifact perks are pretty minor. It's not enough to automatically put stuff to relevance. Okay, that's good to know. That's positive. Can I still obtain old gear? Absolutely. Exclusive gear will remain available from older activities, such as raids, dungeons, or destinations. What's happening with weapon crafting? Weapon crafting is not going away. Boo. And will continue to be a way to craft a specific role of a weapon. Boo. Our intent is for crafting going forward to provide a catch-up mechanism for roles you weren't able to nab from the original sources. This may be because that source is no longer available, or was gated by lockouts when it was. But ultimately, we want crafting to support the weapon chase and not replace it. We'll follow up with more details in a future article. Okay, so this seems positive, but in a way that's a little tricky for my tiny brain to wrap its head around. That expression doesn't really work when I put it from the perspective of my brain, but you know what I mean. It's a lot to digest. Let's put it that way. Definitely lots to digest. Let's move on to the portal. The portal, development name may change, will be an easier, modernized way to browse and launch core game activities. It will offer a varied selection of new and updated activities across a wide range of activity types. The problem: the destination map, the director, is Destiny's venerable activity browsing and selection screen. Over the years, it's grown to be very unwieldy, making it harder to find specifically what's current and worthwhile to play, and requiring ever more expert knowledge to navigate to find what you're looking for. Even current players can have difficulty finding a new activity, while new or returning players have even greater trouble. True, the portal screen will be the new default activity selection screen, replacing the current destination map. But Destinations is still there, to be clear. They're not removing it, even though they just said replacing the map. Like, again, they could have worded this sentence a lot differently just to prevent people from freaking out. But it is still there in their tab. The emphasis of the redesign is quick and clean access to a wider offering of activities with updated rewards, as well as quick access to the current expansion or event content. Activities will be grouped into categories that expand to present up to a few dozen activities each. A few dozen. Wow, that's a lot. Every activity available to launch from the portal will feature updated rewards every season and will present a viable path to the highest tiers of weapons and armor available. Our intent is for most activity launching... Is that when I say activities? Most activities launching in a season to occur from the portal, or maybe it's meant to be hyphenated. Most activity launching in a season to occur from the portal, and any choice you make will be a path to worthwhile rewards. Portal categories. The individual categories are Solo Ops, Fireteam, Flashpoint, Pinnacle, Crucible. Solo Ops are 1 to 3 player activities requiring very low time or social commitments. They're designed for solo players, but are still fun with a Fireteam, and are easy to pick up and play for a quick session. They'll feature a new activity type, which will get a deep dive soon. Fireteam Ops, 3 player activities for match-made or pre-made groups. They're designed for fireteams with more cooperation and coordination, and will feature things like Strikes, Onslaught, the Coil, and new types in the future. Don't know what the Coil is. Flashpoint Ops, 6 player activities for match-made or pre-made groups. Planned for a future season, this category will be introduced later next year. It will feature more chaotic 6-player combat-like offensives. Also don't know what that is. Pinnacle Ops, 3 player activities featuring some more challenging content, including dungeons, exotic missions, and full-length onslaughts. Pinnacle Ops have an exclusive reward pool to claim, but success is not guaranteed. And Crucible, a selection of core Crucible players for solo players and fire teams, providing an opportunity to test your mettle against other Guardians, and exclusive reward pools available to claim with the same depth of tier as other categories. In addition to the above, the portal also provides direct access to the current expansion activities, as well as any currently running events like Iron Banner or Festival of the Lost. Okay. Objective streamlining. The portal screen will also host consolidated and streamlined side objectives like bounties or seasonal challenges. That aspect of the redesign is still a work in progress, but the primary goal is to greatly reduce the chores that need to be done before diving into an activity. We'll share more about this later. Bonus rewards. Every day, several activities in each category will have bonus rewards added to their standard offering. These bonus rewards will include things like specific weapons, armor slots, and currencies. Okay. It's guaranteed from the first daily clear and available at a high drop rate on future clears. Activities with bonus rewards will be sorted to the top and easy to find, so you can quickly scan what's available and decide if any are worth chasing. For match-made activities, they'll also offer matchmaking at a wider variety of difficulty options. Okay, I'm getting information overloaded so hard right now, but I'm going to keep persevering. Are old activities going away? No, except for some seasonal activities that are normally removed at the end of the year. Older activities will remain available to launch from the destination map, just like they are today. Yeah, so they're not getting rid of the destination map. They're definitely saying that they're keeping that. Over time, it's our intention to clean up and retire some older activity offerings that are well served by the portal, such as Vanguard Ops. Okay, so we've read that already on the other page. That's where I was mentioning they're going to get rid of Gambit. Oh, what about Gambit? Gambit will remain available from the destination map, but we're not rolled into the portal categories. Oh, wow. We're still figuring out our plan for this beloved game mode, and we have some ideas ranging from closer integration into Crucible to standalone events that feature it. They might just delete it entirely so all you sweaty Gambit ogres can finally stand up from your desks and touch grass for the first time in years? We know we'd be doing you a favor if we did. Still, we're undecided right now, so we'll let you know at a later date once our plans are finalized. Damn! Bungie finally telling it how it is. What about Gambit, you ask? Well, this. That's what. Spitting absolute facts. Get 'em! Will raids and dungeons be in the portal? Dungeon content will be featured in the Pinnacle Ops category with some alterations to support challenge customization and reward rating. Raid content will not initially be present in the portal categories. The long clear times combined with the wide variation in experiences present some unique challenges that we're still working through. We're excited to get this content into the portal offering in the future. Huh, interesting. I've never played a Gambit sweat. You don't know true fear. True. Gambit's the one thing that deserves to be sunset. So true, chat. So true. Okay, next article. Raids and dungeons. Each expansion will continue to offer aspirational endgame content, either a new raid or a new dungeon, with additional content coming in subsequent major updates. Okay, new raids. Raids are a cornerstone of Destiny. They bring fire teams together to tackle overwhelming odds and create legendary moments with the world-first race. So, we're still kicking off every year with a new raid, starting with a new raid in codename Apollo that will stack up against the rich and varied history of experiences in this space. Raids will continue to offer a complete pool of exclusive weapons, armor, and exotics, and these can be obtained at higher tiers by taking on additional challenge. Is there any kind of adept drops from raids right now? Do you have to do master raids to get raid weapons adept? Yeah, okay. Facing the tall task of following up Salvation's Edge, We're exploring some unique twists on the raid format. This is one area where we will not be giving very much info in the future, as we don't want to risk spoiling the day one experience. Okay, tell me more. Or don't, I guess. Our current iteration of Master Raids and Challenges have followed a similar format for a few years now. It's time to change the formula. Starting with Apollo, new raids will support a raid-specific form of challenge customization, where players can select modifiers called feats. I love feats. Feats will expose and enforce rules, such as time trials, contest combatants, or other mode modifiers unique to the raid. The more feats active during a run, the better the chance to earn higher tier rewards. In the first major update following Codename Apollo, the raid will receive a challenge update, adding new rewards. They're going to add new drops to the raid loot pool? Okay. Wait, new mechanics? New feat? And potentially even new encounters? Wait, what? This update will kick off with a raid race event and be a venue for experienced raiders to further challenge their skills. Bro, this is crazy. This could go one of two ways, right? It's literally 2 races for the price of a single raid star. It really is. But if this turns into people feeling like the first version of the raid basically has encounters that are time gated, like I can foresee the Destiny community using those words to have a big moan. If that happens, we're cooked. It's over. Like if people are like, L raid, last encounters time gated until next major update, we're truly cooked. So I hope that doesn't happen, because this sounds sick. This sounds really cool. In addition to the highest tiers of the raid rewards being available from these challenges, new and exclusive rewards will be added as well, including new weapons and a catalyst for the raid's exotic weapon. New dungeons. Dungeons are an important part of our endgame activity ecosystem. They provide an accessible raid-like experience that feature unique encounters and mechanics that demand less social coordination and scheduling. Have you played Sundered Doctrine, Bungie? Codename Behemoth, the second expansion of the year, will include a brand new dungeon. Also, because the dungeon will be launching as part of our Codename Behemoth expansion, there will no longer be a separate dungeon key. Additionally, the reward offering for new dungeons will be expanded to include full weapon and armor sets on par with raids. Cool. New RAD event. What is RAD? Did they misspell raid? Destiny 2 Into the Lightfall introduced a raid boss rush event called the Pantheon that put Fireteam's capabilities to the test. This event showed us that our community is hungry for new experiences that break out of the mold of our traditional raids and dungeons. In the 4th major update of the year, we're planning for another event that introduces novelty and allows our team to experiment with legacy raid and dungeon offerings to create surprising aspirational challenges. We're very early in the design stages, so more details to come. So does this sort of sound like Rights of the Nine? That's a novelty raid-like experience, right? Yeah? Okay, interesting. This sounds like next week. Let's go! We're living in the golden age. Woo! Raids and dungeons in the core game. Dungeon content will also figure prominently in the new portal. Several updated dungeons will be available to launch and play with a full challenge customization. Several updated dungeons? Wait, are they reprised dungeons? So like, are they going to update Sundered to fit the new model, I guess? Maybe they mean updated in terms of the loot pools and stuff, yeah. Okay, this sounds cool. The idea of getting extra encounters is wild, dude. Like, that's so exciting. That is just so exciting for me. Because raid encounters are like and dungeon encounters, like my favorite thing in all of Destiny. So the idea of like going back to Sundered and getting an extra encounter for it, cinema! That's super exciting. Obviously they said raids, not dungeons, but I have a limited pool of experience to work with, which is why I'm talking about Sundered. Okay, combatant modifiers and more. I'm just going to close my eyes for a minute here, chat. This deep dive is introducing combatant modifiers and how they'll fit into our larger modifier system changes, providing new abilities or properties to the enemy combatants you encounter in an activity. The new threats will create new gameplay, raise the challenge, and overall change up the experience from run to run. The problem is today in Destiny, playing the same PvE activity repeatedly can feel like a chore, particularly when chasing a reward or following a narrative. Running through the latest exotic missions the second, third, and fourth time doesn't feel fun enough to justify the time spent. Eventually, you know when each enemy spawns, where to fight them, and how to win without any challenge. This is a component of Destiny 2 we want to greatly improve with Frontiers, keeping activities fresh and challenging each time you run through them. Now, hear me out. Hear me out. I can't help but feel like the majority of players, low-key, don't actually want their second, third, and fourth time to be harder. I think that they just want the reward. And the fact that they have to redo it at all is annoying to them because they're casuals. So I don't really know if casuals are going to care about making it harder. Like, I feel like casuals sort of don't like the fact that they have to play the game. So I think that this is going to really be amazing for the community that enjoys the challenge and stuff. But I think the normies are going to just never touch this system. Still, let's keep reading. The solution is to improve the experience of replaying activity content by adding variety and unpredictability. Like, I don't think casuals like variety and unpredictability. First class modifier system. Destiny has added modifiers to activities since the launch of the first Nightfall. Who else remembers trying to wrangle Solar Shield Shanks in 2014 Archon Priest? With Codename Frontiers, we're investing more than ever in our modifier system to improve the fun and challenge in activities. We are creating combatant-focused modifiers that change the way players approach combat on every playthrough. Banes, enemy modifiers, and combat modifiers. What is a Bane? Designing modifiers so that they can combine to create a wide variety of experiences, and reduce barriers to entry and time to fun by reducing the number of build crafting necessary modifiers and replacing them with new combat modifiers. Drain, shock, meteors, and mines. Red bars with abilities. Oh, I don't know if I've seen that. Wait, is that like barrier champions? That's like the only point of reference I have for anything. They're a normal enemy with a big symbol above their head, and you do a special thing like suck them. Oh, they suck you? I mean, drain you? Huh? Fair enough. Also known as combatant affix modifiers, an enemy unit with a Bane will present a different challenge to players according to which Bane is affecting them. Enemies that spawn with the modifiers appear unpredictably during an activity, so each run is presenting a different challenge. Here are two of the Banes we're releasing in Episode 2 Revenant as we start testing out this system. Meteors and Shock. The Meteor's Bane gives combatants the ability to launch solar projectiles that track but can be shot down. Shock will continuously build up a charge that discharges on a single target with a line of sight, and killing a unit with this Bane causes it to spread to others nearby. Let's take a look. Okay, so it shoots out little solar boys, and you have to shoot them. And it has a little thingy on his head. Okay. Oh, and he's got a little thingy as well. I see. Okay. Berserk. Killing combatants with Berserk causes other combatants nearby to enrage. Oh, he's got a little thingy too. So you kill him and then all the little guys get mad? Oh, yeah. Wow, I really don't think I've seen these in the game before. Interesting. I need to play the modern content, I guess. I've been too busy going back and playing Last Wish. Punchable. Punchable combatants are immune to all ranged damage and damage from status effects until they're hit with a melee attack. You have to melee them. Okay. Interesting. Nuclear. Once a unit with Nuclear Bane reaches low health, it begins an arming sequence. If it's not defeated before the sequence completes, it explodes. Oh, that boy gonna pop. That boy gonna pop. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Oh, he mad. He mad. Okay, cool. Nuclear. While Banes appear intermittently on individual units, enemy modifiers are used to change base aspects of all enemies in an activity. Adjust your strategies to account for an active enemy modifier, or you may end up flat-footed when something unexpected happens. For example, under a certain enemy modifier shipping in Revenant, some enemies may have copied some tricks about booby-trapping their drops from a famous Scorn Baron. Oh, I've played like a strike with that. I don't remember which one it was, but there's like a pool of water and there's fake ammo bricks. Yeah. Okay. Modifiers aren't just about changing enemies. They can affect players as well. Surge mods are a classic modifier type that's been used for years in Destiny ritual activities, but we've come to realize that too many forceful build crafting modifiers can become barriers for players. Ironic that they say barriers there, and then barrier champions literally require you to build craft a specific way to deal with them. So we've been working to create new modifiers that are more accepting of varied strategies and builds. FAQ. What about champions? Champions still exist in our new future for modifiers, but they won't be hosting any Banes. Can Banes stack? In Revenant, only one Bane can be present on an enemy at a time. Are you replacing all the old modifiers? No. We're trying to strike a balance of keeping the best of the old modifiers that work well with the new ones, but these new modifiers raise the bar enough that will most likely start to retire the old ones over time. Okay, interesting. Let's move on to armor. Compared to weapons, armor's been a relatively unexciting reward for a few years now. Has it? Bro, the sanguine grind was great for me. I was having a great time with that. In the year ahead, we'll be introducing new properties to armor and changing how stats work to make it easier to change armor around. The problem, in the years since the last major update, Shadowkeep's Armor 2.0 armor has settled into a relatively static part of the reward story. Once you have the right stat rolls, there's very little else to look forward to. Okay, fair. I'm grinding for stat rolls right now, so I can see why once you finish that, you got nothing to do. The intricate balance of stat values has a lock-in effect that makes it hard to want to swap anything out anyway. Oh, so valid, actually. Fair enough. Yeah, I respect that. For armor to be exciting again, it needs some unique properties, and stats need to be easier to manage without so much need for fine-tuning. Interesting. Because, well, yeah, interesting. The solution, reworked stat mechanics. Stats on armor will be changing in Frontiers to make them more player-friendly. The first major change is the mechanics of the stats. Stats effects will no longer be tiered every 10 points. What? Wow. Every point in a stat will provide a benefit. This change is intended to reduce the lock-in effect that happens when a fine-tuned combination of stat values makes it feel impossible to switch out any single armor piece. Stat effects will be capped at 200, with the range from 101 to 200, providing an additional powerful effect building on the base effect. This change is intended to support deeper investment in a smaller number of stats and spikier stat distributions on armor with fewer secondary dump stats. Interesting. Why is it going above 100 though? Like, this person has 30 mobil, 40 resil, and then 200 strength? Keep reading? Okay. In addition to the above, the distribution of stats will also be changing. Legendary armor will have a stat archetype, which determines the primary and secondary stat types, with the third stat being a free roll. The values of these stats should overall be spikier, leading to less dump stats. And the class slot will have full stat distributions on par with other slots. Okay, so let's just try and take in this image. The result will be a smaller number of unique stats on any piece of armor, with larger contributions to these stats, and every stat point providing a benefit. These changes should ultimately make every piece of armor more interesting and easier to evaluate. Oh. So this has the Brawler archetype, which have extreme melee and other close range capabilities. So they give you 30 strength, 20 dis, and 10 int. And the int is a free roll, so that could have been anything. Oh my god, they're doing set bonuses as well. Oh my god. Does a set bonuses mentioned it? They are. Okay, I'm excited to get to that. New stats. Some stats will be changing with 3 goals in mind. Improve specific weak stats that offer little value. Reduce or eliminate mandatory must-have stats, probably resil. And overall improve understandability of stats and their effects. Good! The changes are still in development, but here are a few examples of work in progress. Dis. From 1 to 100 provides increasing grenade cooldown reduction. From 101 to 200 provides increasing chance to gain a bonus grenade charge, and Dis is being renamed to Grenade. Wow. Now, I think this would be better from an understandability perspective if 1 to 200 provided increasing cooldown, and then if you were over 100, you basically got this as a secondary buff. I think the idea of one stat having 2 different uses depending on where you like that feels a bit weird to me. Strength. From 1 to 100 provides increasing melee cooldown reduction. From 101 to 200 provides an increasing chance to gain a bonus melee charge. Oh, and they're just renaming it to melee. Huh. Yeah, a lot of you guys seem to not like the stats being renamed. But you can understand why discipline for a new Guardian doesn't make any sense, right? I almost wonder if you guys would like it more if it was called Grenade Discipline. Special ammo. From 1 to 100. Wait, they've got a special ammo stat? That's not on here. From 1 to 100, increases rate at which special ammo bricks drop. 101 to 200 provides an increasing chance that a double-sized brick will drop. So they're adding a special ammo stat. Crazy. Set bonuses. The second major change is the introduction of set bonuses. Think of them like an origin trait for armor. They'll represent the theme of the armor and allow you to reflect that fantasy in the way your build plays. Set bonuses are perks granted when you equip 2 and 4 pieces of armor from the same set. This allows you to either commit to 2 bonuses from the same set or find combinations that fit your unique needs. We're keeping both approaches in mind as they take shape and are excited to see what each Guardian chooses to do with the new tools. Note that there is no bonus at 5 pieces because most builds are expected to include a piece of exotic armor. As you'll see, perks will consist of either existing mods or will be newly designed. We've included a few examples below. Tex Mechanica. While shooting from the hip, you have increased movement speed and weapon handling. Effect increases when you score hits. Tex mechanical weapons have increased range and accuracy when hip fired. Final blows with freshly reloaded weapons heal you. Damaging a target with a shotgun or a fusion rifle increases the damage it takes from those weapons for a short time. Direct hits with explosive weapons temporarily increase their reload speed. Repeated direct hits with explosive weapons temporarily increase grenade ability damage. Activating your grenade gives you and nearby allies damage resistance. Defeating champs with a finisher generates special ammo for you and your fire team. I'm gonna be honest, this sounds awesome. Straight up, this sounds really cool. Because right now, I'm not build crafting with my armor in any way. I'm build crafting with my mods, but not with the armor itself. But this sounds sick. Like, this sounds so good. So hell yeah, I'm super, super excited about this. What happens to my old armor? Old legendary armor will be changed as little as possible, but because the change to stat mechanics and types are global, old armor pieces will have their stat types, but not their values changed around. When possible, these changes will be to the most similar stat, but with some stats being fundamentally reworked, this won't always be possible. What about exotic armor? Updating the exotic armor pursuit is on our roadmap, and it won't be part of the initial update focusing on legendary armor. To make sure that exotics and their build-defining perks remain a compelling option, we're working out a design that will allow players to update their exotic armor to bring their stat bonuses in line with the changes to legendary armor. The exotic class items in the final shape are a special case. Even though legendary class items will be gaining full random stats with this update, we don't want to add additional randomness to the exotic class item chase. Instead, we'll be providing a method for players to update their existing exotic class item with additional stats that they're choosing to bring them in line with the stat contribution of the new legendary class items. Didn't they sort of say the same thing twice here? More details on the longer term plan will be coming as we nail them down. Okay. My vault is full. So true, dude. We know that vault pressure is a real problem for many players, even with recent increases in vault space. Outside of adding more space, which is an option, real solutions that enable long-term storage of more desirable roles are really hard problems. Those are the problems we're penciling into our roadmap at or around next year's second expansion, codenamed Behemoth. We'll share more details when the time is right. Okay. I mean, yeah, I do need more vault space, because quite frankly, I don't think it's acceptable that I am forced to delete all of this absolutely beautiful loot. It's just not acceptable. It's not fair. It's actually a crime that Bungie would restrict our vaults to such a great extent that I would have to actually get rid of my prized possessions. Like, why? Why would they do that to me? I have a vault to store my stuff. And a world where I can't do that is a world I don't want to live in. So yes, Bungie, I do need new vault space. Thank you very much. Next article, Solo Ops. Solo Ops are short missions, easy for lone players to jump into. The problem, over the last few years, we've built on the promise of Destiny as a game where you can come together with other Guardians and enjoy the game together. We've built a lot of new match-made activities, from Battlegrounds to Marathon, and rolled out features like Fireteam Finder to make it easier to group up with other people. We've watched our community come together like never before, and that's great. Sometimes you just want to jump in and play for 10 to 20 minutes and feel like it was worth your time. Right now, your only options for doing so either put you in direct competition with 3 sweaty marathon players, or can feel like you're in a race to the finish against your own fireteam members in strikes and battlegrounds. What the hell is battlegrounds? The activities best suited to solo players are time-consuming, story missions can take half an hour or more to complete, lost sectors require you to go into the destination to play them, and jumping into multiplayer activities as a solo player, for example soloing a dungeon, can be stressful and take even more time than the activity would with a fire team because chat won't stop backseating you to use Anarchy when you don't have it unlocked. Wow. They really have their finger on the pulse with this one. We identified a gap in our offerings, short activities that lone players can take at their own pace. The solution. Solo ops are activities aimed at short playtimes and manageable for people who don't have thumbs. They'll be launched from the portal and have a target-based play of 10 minutes. Each solo ops activity emphasizes the fun of Destiny's combat action gameplay, presenting players with straightforward objectives that focus on gunplay. Solo ops missions aren't intended to be intense tests of build crafting prowess or thumb skill. Instead, we want them to focus on the joy of playing in Destiny's action sandbox in a way that's easy to jump into and play in just a few minutes. Okay. Reward scaling. Solo ops will support scoring and challenge customization like many of our other activities. As such, they will allow players to make incremental progress toward better and more powerful gear and support customizing the difficulty of the activity with modifiers. You'll still want to play well in them because your score contributes to the quality of your loot, but we're trying to construct these missions so that getting a good score is a matter of moving, shooting, and looting rather than being determined by what loadout and build you bring into them. Okay. Another goal of solo ops is to create activities with higher variability between plays. Since you'll be playing these missions as a way of making progress toward better gear, we're trying to make sure they stay fresh longer and are making them less predictable in what content you see. For example, at this time, we're aiming to have each mission come with a variant for at least 2 combatant factions, each one with a unique objective associated with it. Cool. I like the sound of that. Sounds pretty interesting. Sounds terrible for speedrunners, but other than that, sounds pretty interesting. Solo ops missions will sometimes come with optional goals that only present themselves once you're in the activity, like the presence of treasure goblins. Cool. Passageways to secret rooms opening where they're normally closed. Cool. We're also scattering random treasure chests throughout the activity, and finding them will get you a bonus to your final score. Cool. One piece of activity tech we've been working to build for these missions is a dynamic enemy spawning system. The system runs behind the scenes, monitoring how well you're doing, how long it's been since you've been in combat, and how close you're getting to your objective, and then spawns squads of enemies when the system determines you need to be challenged. Unlike our other activities, where enemy spawn cadence are often very scripted, solo ops missions will spawn enemies at unpredictable times from places where you may not expect them to be. Okay, yeah, it's like a Left 4 Dead 2 director. This sounds pretty neat. Visiting existing locations. Since solo ops are a part of the core game that's free to play for everyone, we also wanted to take advantage of the fact that across the game there are many locations that are either not used in free content or are underused despite being a fun place to play. A lot of beautiful, exciting spaces play host to only a single story mission, and players have no reason to go to those places outside of that mission. Some, like the Saltsworks area on EDZ, are currently entirely unused. Wow, these are awesome uniquely Destiny spaces, and we think Solo Ops is a great venue for going back and visiting some of these places that may not have gotten as much attention as their craftsmanship deserves. Solo Ops missions will take you into spaces you may have visited before, but the new objectives and dynamic enemy spawning help to make the experience feel both fresh and familiar. For many players, Solo Ops missions might be the first time you go to those locations, and we think that everyone should have a chance to experience those iconic spaces. Overall, we hope that the Solo Ops missions will be a good activity for players who have only a short amount of time to play, prefer to play by themselves, or are looking for a lower intensity way to revel in the Destiny gameplay sandbox, as well as any combination of those 3. Cool. Can you only play them solo? Good question. Solo Ops activities will accommodate up to 3-player fire teams because we never want to tell you can't play with friends. We're working on a system to automatically scale up the difficulty based on fire team size. However, if you want to play with other people, fire team ops are going to offer the more efficient path to getting better gear. Will solo ops support matchmaking? No. Okay. Will solo ops include champions, banes, or specific modifiers? We haven't locked down any specific set of modifiers that we're going to support in solo ops. We can't just use the same modifiers as, say, strikes, because we're really aiming at a tight experience that solo players can enjoy. We want to make sure the modifiers we allow don't push the missions away from that experience. We do plan to support banes, as we think they offer an exciting way to increase the variety of experiences you might have across multiple plays. The end. Wow. Okay. So that is our last update page, developer insight article thing. There's only really one thing that I was hoping would be mentioned in here and that wasn't mentioned, basically, when they're talking about the portal, it's all well and good that they're going to have this screen that's going to have like a dozen or a couple of dozen activities within each of these. And they want to make it easier for players to like find the stuff that they need to do. But something that I've had a really big pain point with in learning Destiny over the last few months is, for example, if I want to go back now and I want to do the first mission of Act 1 of Episode Heresy, there's some random other mission that I had to do first that isn't indicated as being a necessary prerequisite anywhere, but it is necessary in order for me to be able to queue the actual starting mission of Act 1. And I ran into this issue because I was trying to get Choir of Man from the end of Act 1, and so I needed to run through Act 1, but I couldn't start it. And it took genuinely like an hour and a half for me and chat to troubleshoot it and figure out what the hell was going on there. Like, it took forever. And we've had this issue several times where people have been like, oh, this thing isn't appearing for you. You need to go to some random other planet and like talk to an NPC once, right? And it's those sorts of scenarios that I think this portal screen needs to be a fix for. It needs to help me also with, for example, what was the exotic mission chat that I couldn't load into? For the red thing. 0 Hour. Thank you, Mafferty. I had so many issues with 0 Hour because I was trying to load into it and it wouldn't let me queue it to begin with, I think, because there was some prerequisite that hadn't been done, I don't think. And then when we did get into it, I then didn't get the rewards because the rewards were broken at the time, and then they fixed it. That's fine, whatever. But it's still just the fact of like, I couldn't get in efficiently and easily in the first place too. And it was just chaos. And from a new player perspective, it was hell. It was really hellish to navigate. And if I wasn't a content creator with a chat who are very kindly helping me through it, I would have given up that day. I would have been like, I'm just going to do something else. So I think this needs to have a very, very in-depth system built behind it so that a player can basically point to something they want. Like, a player can point to like Outbreak Perfected in a list and the game can just put them there and tell them all the prerequisites they need to get first. Because I know right now that if you go into the collections tab, right, you can see a bunch of exotics there. That's all well and good, but not all exotics show up because some of them are secret, right? And so there's no way for me to be like, okay, I'm going to point at this exotic that's not in my menu and it's going to tell me where I get it. And similarly, even if it does tell me where I get it, sometimes I can't queue the thing that gives me it because there's some other prerequisite that I'm never told about, you know? So I think they need to connect those things together so that players can basically just point at the thing in the game and the game can go, oh, you want this? Here's your checklist. Here's your laundry list. Here is what the curator up here in this image is going to tell you to do. I think it's really, really important for new players. If they're committed to the new player experience, none of this is going to matter because the same pain points are still going to get hit, that you're going to try and get Outbreak Perfected and you're not going to know that you need to talk to some random NPC first because the game never tells you. Similarly, in the game, this is such a separate piece of feedback, but I've been meaning to say this for forever, and I feel like I'm saying feedback right now, so I might as well say it. I would like the loadout unlocking process to be clearer because I had a tough time with it. So that marks the end of the developer insights. I think that there's a lot of stuff that's exciting here. And it's very difficult to wrap my brain around so much of it, especially when some of it is worded in a way that I think is a little confusing. But that makes me all the more excited for May 6th when they're running through all this stuff. And I'm hopeful that we see maybe some like in-engine examples of things that they're sort of talking about while they say it, so it's not just words. I think that would be really helpful because this is very, very text-based, and some more visuals would be really helpful because like this screenshot says 1,000 words, right? Whereas so much of the other stuff is just like dense info. So yeah, excited for the May 6th stream. Super excited for the armor rework. I think this is probably the most exciting bit of all of it. But I'm also excited about the raid things, the tweaks that they're doing to the raids, whatever the sort of name is going to be for that, the raid challenge update that's going to come in the following major update after the first one where the raid itself drops. So yeah, that's all really sort of caught my attention. So May 6th, I'll hopefully see you on stream. We'll be co-streaming it for sure. And I look forward to Bungie cooking. Okay. See you guys there.